Om Shanti. One of the words that's been coming up in Sakash Murlis is the word Sakash. And some years ago, I think we'd gone through a process of trying to translate it and decided that we wouldn't. That we just keep it. And this is because the word Sakash implies many things together. The current, the power, the light, the might, the pull, the magnetic attraction that Baba's putting out to pull us to himself. So the one word Sakash carries all of that. So you can see that it's not a good idea to try and translate it into Japanese or Spanish. And definitely not English. But I just want to speak about Sakash a little bit before I get on to from fear to love. Because the question comes, well, who is Baba giving Sakash to? Is Baba giving Sakash to the whole wide world? Yes. But then who's able to receive it and experience it? And so what's the preparation I need to make in order to come to that stage? And there's another word that I'd like to take up in terms of preparation to receive Sakash. We translate it as the pilgrimage of remembrance, and the Hindi word is yatra, which literally means that. Now people use it generally for any journey, but in fact it's not the origin of the word. It was meant as a pilgrimage when you were going on a journey to a sacred place, a pilgrimage place, and so that journey, that pilgrimage implied certain disciplines that you would observe. There would be a process of fasting, of abstinence. There would be a commitment, a determined thought. All this is on the bhakti pilgrimage. All of that would happen. A person would decide to go on a pilgrimage, but it wouldn't just be a holiday. It would be very specific. They would have an aim. At least that was the Satu Pradhan Yatra. Now I'm sure that even that's become mixed and adulterated. But that pure intent of actually moving and going forward in your life in terms of spirituality. And so you can see why Baba uses this term for remembrance. It's not just static. It's not just, not even in the sense of, it's not movement yoga, but it's yoga in which there should be change visible. I should be able to see milestones along the journey. And yes, there are certain disciplines. There's a commitment to abstinence from certain things, physical, mental, both. There's a pledge. There are principles. But most of all, there's a destination to arrive at. And there it's physical, and here it's a spiritual destination. And the question is, how close am I to that destination? And so the pilgrimage of remembrance. Am I moving forward in that journey? Am I seeing the impact of that remembrance in my life and the quality of my relationships and the quality of my actions? If yoga is real, if my pilgrimage is true, there will be the results that are visible from that. And if the results are not visible, then a question, what's going on? And so that's a sort of idea of pilgrimage in the context of yoga. And if I want to think about, well, who is it who receives Sakash? I can give you a list of abstract ideas, but I can also give you a very practical example, because it was a very specific situation in which Baba started to use this word Sakash in March 1968. Very specific. And it was Dada Vishwakishore, Baba's right hand. Baba and Mama together, the mother and father of the yajna, of course. And so Mama's departure in June 1965, that was very dramatic. But that was actually a very powerful vehicle for Brahma Baba to start playing the role of the big mother, the senior mother. While there was Mama in the physical form, Baba was the father. But mother and father, that role only started for Brahma Baba very specifically when Mama became avyakt. And so there was good reason. There was a very important aspect within the drama there. And then when March 68, Dada Vishwakishore left the body, Baba actually used this expression that Baba's right hand has gone. Baba still had so many children, but the one who was responsible for so much of the yajna's activity, who took the load of Baba, who would be the one who would face whatever situations were coming, and he would resolve them, and then when things were sorted out, they would get to Baba. And so that filter disappeared. And Baba was using the word Sakash when you heard the Murli a couple of days ago. When the child is awake at night, how can Baba sleep? Baba's also sending the child Sakash. Baba's sending that child those vibrations. So, what is it about this one individual that we can understand and then learn from and follow in those footsteps? One of the beautiful things about the yajna, the sacrificial fire, you know, we have this debate about, is this a family, is this a university, is this an organization? No, it's a yajna. You get away from all of those issues of maybe, and all the different lines. So it's the yajna. Sacrifice, everything sacrifice. Hearing of these individuals of the yajna who are our ancestor souls. We're ancestor souls for the whole tree, and we don't always remember it. We don't always recognize our role and the responsibility of that role. But definitely these dadis, the advanced party that Baba mentioned last time, the dadas, and in particular this one individual, his surrender equal to Baba. Baba's surrender was instant, and his surrender the same. Baba made him wait a while until things got established, but then his surrender was of an equal quality. Obedience. Shiv Baba giving instructions to Brahma Baba, just an internal conversation. And we saw what Brahma Baba did with his life. But whatever Baba spoke, whatever Mama spoke, this one was the one who would instantly obey. It takes a lot of faith and courage to have total obedience. Is that right? I'm thinking about the purchase of the property of Pandav Bhavan. And it was purchased for just some thousands of rupees. Maybe it was 35,000, 45,000, something like that. That's it. Even at that time, there was great value for money, but yet still, that whole area which is now built up, not Sukadham, not Om Shanti Bhavan, but within the walls of Pandav Bhavan, the original walls, there was just the stables, no other building, just the stables and mountain, rock everywhere. But that whole property was on sale, and we'd moved from one place to another place and were having to move again. And Dada Vishwakishore came to Baba, this is available. And Baba said, child, get it. And the child says, what should I offer? And Baba gives a figure that seems to be very small, the figure that I was mentioning. Dadi Janki would remember the precise figure, 35, 45,000, whatever it was. And he doesn't bat an eyelid. Gee. He's a businessman. He's a man of the world. He's had to deal with all the local authorities, all the Lokik people, the banks and the municipality and everything, and he knows all this, but gee. And it happens that this is the price that the property is acquired for. Drama, destiny works in its own mysterious ways, and it came to Baba and done. Next morning, the owner wanted to change the contract because next morning he came to his senses. The night before he hadn't been fully aware. But the contract was done, and the figure Baba had given is the figure that happened. So faith, surrender, courage, obedience, and only one. Just Baba and Baba's instructions, and absolute attention to all the principles. Living in the Yagya anyway, but he would travel a lot all over India for Baba's work. And in those days there weren't centres every few miles down the road. And he carried this little kit bag in which he carried a little stove and a little bit of flour and a couple of potatoes. And he would then sit and cook at the train station whenever the need arose. So such discipline in terms of food, absolutely 101% accurate. These are some of the externals that I'm talking about, but the quality of love and surrender to Baba and Mama. And they say that when he would take drishti from Mama, he would totally disappear. And they would see in him the child of Lakshmi. Now, conjecture, reality, who knows? But these are the sort of stories that we hear about this particular soul. And it's this soul that Baba's talking about when Baba's saying, Baba is giving Sakash. Baba's giving Sakash. And so, where am I at? Is my pilgrimage of remembrance of such quality, of such attention, that yes, I'm able to catch the Sakash from Baba. Two other words that Baba's been emphasizing a lot, and I don't want to take a whole class on them, but because Daddy actually has taken classes on that. But the two words, of course, you'll remember, laziness and carelessness. And so the laziness of the intellect, where I don't pay sufficient attention to soul consciousness, where I don't pay enough attention to the quality of my thoughts, my feelings, my attitude. And so that laziness, well, how am I going to move forward in terms of the pilgrimage? And how am I going to prepare myself to take Sakash? And so really that inner attention and the work going on inside, invisible, incognito, but I know, and of course Baba knows, and the connection then will show whether it's happening or not. And the carelessness, I was thinking about how in the final moment, it's me and Baba. My karmic account, whatever I have accumulated or whatever I have lost, whatever good, whatever opportunities missed, whatever bad, all of that account is with me and I'm there with Baba. At that moment, it's not possible to say, because I was sick, because this one was making a nuisance of themselves, because this one was interfering, or this one was, you see? No excuses are possible at that moment. It's just me and Baba. And whatever it is I have filled myself with, or whatever it is I'm still carrying that I should have let go of. And the carelessness that comes in today is where we forget this, that it's really between me and God. There's nobody else in between. If I've allowed somebody or something to come in between, that's my mistake. Where I say, oh, but you know, so-and-so isn't making so much effort, or so-and-so isn't really doing what Baba wants us to do, and that has an influence and an impact. Well, I can give a dozen reasons, and they're all very logical and very valid today. But ultimately, it's me and God. But actually, it's not even ultimately me and God. Even today, the reality is that it's me and God. It's nobody else in between. And this is my carelessness, where I think that there are other reasons or other factors or other causes that are valid. And so the pilgrimage of remembrance, that awareness, that attention, just me and Baba, keep moving, don't stop. The bhakti idea of the pilgrimage. For example, when they have the pilgrimage to Amarnath, it's always in the month of August during Raksha Bandhan time. And Amarnath is in the Himalayas. Himalayas, Kashmir, that area, way up above. And regularly, during the monsoons, August is monsoon time in India, regularly there are rock falls, and there'll be storms that will block the road, and to all intents and purposes you're not able to go beyond that. But a true pilgrim will feel it's okay, it's come, but what I have to do is to go beyond it and get to my destination. I have to go to Amarnath. And so Indian papers during the month of August will regularly carry news of how much storms there have been, how many rock falls there have been, and how many pilgrims have yet still gone through all of that and made it to the Shiva Lingam. And so the point that you're on a journey, on a pilgrimage, and of course there's going to be all sorts of obstacles, and of course there's going to be side scenes and distractions. When has there ever been a journey without side scenes? But am I going to stop and look at those side scenes, or am I just going to keep moving, keep moving, keep moving? And so, if I just make sure that my vision is focused on Baba, my destination is Paramdham, my destination is Jivan Mukti, perfection, however it is I wish to put it, but if I keep my vision focused there, and the pilgrimage of remembrance is continuing without wasting time in all of these things, then Baba's Sakash can reach me. Baba's Sakash will then make sure that it's not just slow, slow, step by step, slow, slow. But the Sakash means that there's that extra injection in which things move far more quickly than I had anticipated in terms of my own inner progress. Yesterday, when Baba was giving us the whole list of all the things that happen through the power of love, well, that's Sakash. Remember all those points that Baba gave us yesterday. That's the impact of Sakash, because Sakash is where Baba is giving me that love, that power of love, and I'm taking that love from Baba and I'm using it in my life. Whatever it is that's come in the way, it disappears, it disappears. When Baba used this expression, not just that the impossible becomes possible, but the impossible, it's like it's happened already. It's fixed already, it's done already. And I won't go into all the stories that I've seen of how that works. Impossible things, and Baba's made it happen. Not just that it became possible, but Baba made it happen. And it happened so easily, so naturally. And everyone who's on the field of service in particular will have their own stories about how this works. But never mind the field of service. Each one in terms of their own personal journey also. I remember a time when I thought there was quite a lot of bondage, and I thought, am I ever going to be able to go to Madhuban? And Baba made it happen that I did come. And when I came, I was meeting Baba in Baba's room, and Baba was on the gaddi, the little gaddi that's still there, and Baba's room was tiny still, and it was just a few people in that room. And Baba said to me, you'll come more often to Madhuban than the teachers from Bharat. And I'd come to Madhuban after 3 years of bondage. And I was wide-eyed at Baba's blessing. I took it as a blessing, and I wondered, amazing. And it just happened. Then after that, it literally was twice a year, 3 times a year. It just happened. And so it's done already. Baba's love makes things that you on a logical level think are impossible. But it's done already. It's fixed already. So whether in terms of your own personal life or whether in terms of service, many, many examples and stories about this that everybody has. And it's important to remember those stories, to immerse them in your mind and freshen your own mind with those, because sometimes we forget about the magic that Baba's working on us and the magic that's happening at every moment all around. Somebody said to me the other day, "I'm waiting to see miracles happen." I said, well, this is a miracle. You're here, and that in itself is a miracle. And so to experience that wonder, that awe of how amazing things really are, and they are, and you begin to see more magic happen, more magic happen. And so I have to prepare to be able to receive the Sakash. Carelessness, laziness, goodbye. Attention, attentiveness, moving ahead on my journey towards the destination. And Baba Sakash is reaching me in an unlimited way. And the beautiful thing that God is unlimited. And sometimes you're in a place where if you've got too many electrical appliances all going at the same time, the fuses blow and everything goes. Ever been in a country like that? So when it's the physical situation, there's a limited power supply, 3 appliances, and it's one too many. 1 appliance, 2 appliances, and it's fine. 3 appliances, and the whole thing will blow. I've often been in that situation in different countries. But that's where the supply is limited. And here, unlimited, unlimited, unlimited. So you plug in, you plug in, you plug in, and you plug in, and there's plenty more, and each and every one can plug in. And so the Sakash is available for everyone. And Baba gave a very special blessing the other day, especially for those who've come to Baba after Baba became Avyakt. Last, go fast, go first. And now I'm interpreting it on another level. I just want to ask a question here. Who has not had a chance to take sustenance from Dadi Prakash Mani on the physical level? It's, as I anticipated, about 25%. Most gatherings now, because a year plus since Dadi became Avyakt, but the last 3 years of Dadi's time, Dadi was silence, karmatit, that was her focus, so it wasn't so much interaction with everyone. So approximately about 4 years since the days of very hands-on, practical sustenance from Dadiji. And why I remember that is because today somebody was talking to me about they live far away from the center anyway, and it's a country that doesn't get so many visitors from abroad, not so many seniors. And so she was saying that I haven't had that sort of sustenance, but that's okay, because I feel that Baba's got his vision on me, and Baba's giving me special sustenance to make up for that. And I know that that's true. In the days that I couldn't come to Bharat, and there was no center outside of Bharat, so it was Baba and me, it was very, very powerful sustenance directly from Baba. That's not to say that there isn't that sustenance when you have a center and seniors and everything, but Baba does compensate. Baba does give extra help and support. And so, avyak, sustenance. Baba spoke about the sustenance after Baba became avyak, but now I'm thinking that those who've come who haven't had the chance of sustenance from Dadiji, but now have that avyak experience of Dadiji, many share those experiences too. Extra help, extra fortune, extra blessings. And so the last go fast, the translation of that shifts, the goalpost shifts as time moves on. At this moment, Sakash available for everyone, and each one able to take as much as we wish to. No limits. Not having to stand in a queue outside any door, waiting to see someone. Not having to have a turn at reading the Murli or taking the course. None of those things. Me and Baba. And that Sakash is available. And the practical proof of that in your life will be that all the fears that human beings normally have, and until we become angels, Brahmins are also very human. So we carry all those fears from Lokik life here with us. And sometimes, you know, where ignorance is bliss, where you didn't know about karma. It was fine, you were happy. But now you do know about karma. And so there's a greater responsibility. But also then I find that some Brahmins carry fear about that too. So I want to talk about taking Sakash, the power of Baba's love, and just coming to the stage where I'm full, filled with Baba's love, and fears have been dispelled by the power of that love. We carry fears of the past, the things before Gyan that I did. The soul remembers those things. And if there's something I can do to rectify, if I've caused sorrow, yes, let me sort it out and try and take away that pain or ask for forgiveness. But there are many things that it's not possible to put right in that way. And the soul is afraid that the return of that karma is going to come back in some way or another. And what Baba is saying is that if you are ready to let go of the past and forget the past, Baba has finished with the past anyway. For Baba, there is no past, it's only the present. Baba's Trikaldarshi. Baba sees the three aspects of time, but Baba's not looking at the past. For Baba, it's finished. But am I able to take the power of God's love and forgive myself so that the things before Gyan are finished and there's realization and transformation and a new chapter, a new life, not just a new chapter actually, but a new life has begun. And so Sakash gives me the possibility of taking that power and going through that process of transforming myself, and the things of the past will finish. The ghosts will go away. Those memories have to finish and be cleaned out and disappear. More difficult, more challenging are the mistakes I've made after Gyan, because I knew I had Gyan, and yet Maya is insidious, very quiet, incognito. You know, Baba says, little mouse that comes and bites. And so, although I had Gyan, but yet at that moment, carelessness, lack of attention, and I didn't realize, and I thought, it's okay. And so, today, Baba's love saved me, pulled me out of that, and again, I understand, I see clearly. But here also, Baba's saying, past, finished. It was the first time I've seen Baba make gestures in the middle of a murali. Baba normally is very still, absolutely focused, absolutely quiet. But this time, finish, past. And Baba was talking about whatever has happened since we've come to Baba, not past, but since you've come to Baba. At least that was the context in which Baba was talking. Okay, so there's been carelessness, there's been laziness, never mind, it's okay, finish, gone. And so, again, if I'm ready to take Baba's love, if I'm ready to take the power that there is within that love. Way back, somebody gave a very beautiful experience of the difference between human love and God's love. And it was somebody who was very new in Gyan at that time, but she was sharing her experience, and she said, human love will maybe make you feel good, but it won't make you better than you are. But God's love will make you better than you are already. And of course it'll make you feel good, but it'll actually help you move forward, which is true. But it was interesting hearing this person who was very silent in those days, and she shared this. So that's the power of God's love, not just love, but it has a power within it, a force, an energy that makes things move and makes things change. The fear of the past and the karmic return of that makes a soul anxious or worried, that finishes with the power of Sakash, Baba's love. But of course it also means that as I continue to take Baba's love and feel that Sakash, then I have to also make sure that what I'm doing at the present moment is as Baba wants it to be. Otherwise, if mistakes continue at this point, then the Sakash stops. I'm not able to receive it. And so the immediate return of carelessness and mistakes today is that I don't feel the Sakash, I don't feel Baba's help in carrying me forward. You know, the other day Baba was mentioning how when you first came to Baba, you felt the power of Baba's love, and that was able to help you transform. In the same way, if today I want to feel the power of Baba's love, it has to be with that choice. I was going to say commitment, but I want to change that. Because it's a question of what is my choice? What is it that I truly want? Madhuban offers that time for the self, for reflection, for silence, the atmosphere, the vibrations of Madhuban. And especially here, just to be able to see, what is it that I really want? Where am I going? What is the purpose of everything that I'm doing? And if that becomes clear to me, then I'm willing to finish all the other things that maybe are a distraction and are pulling me away. And I'm ready to focus again. And the present, every moment, every breath becomes worthwhile and brings an instant return. The beauty of Sangam Yuga is that there's an instant return of karma. Golden Age, Silver Age, we're reaping the harvest of the work done earlier. Copper Age, Iron Age, sometimes karma comes back quickly, but sometimes it takes a long while, and you don't know at what point what karma led to what situation. I eat something that's wrong and I feel the pain instantly. So you don't have to wait for a few days or a few years to feel the impact of that karma instant. But other karma, more subtle, and you don't know. This birth, next birth, at some point there has to be the settlement, but don't know when. But Sangam Yuga, pure thought and immediately the return, a very good feeling. Bad thought, critical thought, negative thought, thought of comparison, immediately the return, I don't feel so good. But if I'm not taking responsibility for this, karma means not just understanding, but karma means accepting responsibility. Sangam Yuga is giving us the opportunity to create fortune for the whole cycle. And literally that's what it is, the whole cycle, not just 21 births. And so today, my thoughts worthwhile, my breath worthwhile, my time and energy worthwhile, I can just enjoy Sangam Yuga. No fears, no anxieties, no question about the future. If I understand karma and am taking Baba's love, I'm taking the Sakash, I don't understand how there can be anxiety and fear of the future. It doesn't add up. And so, if I am anxious about the future, let me backtrack and find out why. What is it that's going on that's making me insecure? A little child has total faith. There's love, there's warmth, there's security. The parents are there to look after every need, even before the need is expressed. The parents anticipate and provide. And that's on a Lokik level. And the Supreme Mother, the Supreme Father, surely there's total security that Baba offers. You know, sometimes it hasn't come in the Murli recently, but I'm sure it will. And Baba talks about the insurance agent. And Baba is the insurance magnet, not just the agent, the insurance magnet. And it's a time when in Kali Yuga, insurance companies are collapsing. And you thought that You had very good insurance and everything was going to be fine. And suddenly you realize that it's not quite like that. And here's Baba saying, I can give you total guarantee. I am offering you total health, wealth, prosperity, happiness, good relationships, intelligence, wisdom. Anything else you want? Add to the list, and Baba's saying, I'm offering it to you in abundance, no limits, and guarantee. At one point I was translating for somebody for Baba, and Baba said to that person, because they were a bit anxious and worried, and it was about service and time and hands and not enough hands. You haven't ever known that, have you? Well, this person at that moment, a lot of service, not enough hands, too much pressure. And Baba said to them, has Baba ever let you down? And a big beaming smile came on her face. And how often she remembers it, I don't know. And Baba was talking to her, but I remember it very often. Has Baba ever let you down? And it's true, isn't it? You genuinely say, my Baba, and Baba's available, Baba's present. And if I've said my Baba and Baba's not present, well, why not? What was there that was missing, that interfered in my feeling Baba's presence? Because Baba is present, but what is it that interfered in my lack of experience of that? So here's Baba giving me every guarantee, every assurance for the future. And sometimes people say, well, that's fine for Satyug, but what about Sangam Yug? When I came to Baba, I was young, and many of the people who came to Baba in London at that time, they were all in their teens and 20s. The average age of the class, the English class in the early days was about 20-something. There were 2 women who were in their 40s, and they were just in their 40s, and they thought that they were really old because everybody else was so young. And then time went on, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and we've all got grey hair now, and we've all got zeros after our birthdays, and not so young anymore. And at that time, we had a discussion. Well, we all think that we're going to go home very soon, but what if? And it was very interesting, because the most important thing that came out of that discussion was, well, this is the life we have chosen, and what if 10 years, 20 years, and maybe we're carrying sticks. You know, it was a skit done at Christmas by the sisters in Shakti Bhavan, average age 20. And they did the skit that maybe, you know, we'll still be carrying sticks and we'll still be saying that Satyuga is coming, Satyuga is coming. And it's actually become a reality. But we can laugh at it. But what came out of that discussion was, this is still the life we would choose to have. If Baba were to say to us, okay, another 10 years, another 20 years, would you change your lifestyle? God's responsible, God's taking care of me, God's teaching me what I must do, God's giving me the power to do it, and so this is the life I want to have. And so even Sangam Yug, however long Sangam Yug lasts, good thoughts, good feelings, Srimat in my life, the right actions, and there's no fear for the future. The future in the immediate term. And yes, the future of Satyug, yes, we'll see that whenever it happens, but even here and now, really absolutely no fear. And so in terms of Srimat and Karma, total security. And so no fear about anything at all. Then the fear of the ghosts inside. No fear of the past, no fear of the future. But at the present, I'm still dealing with all my sanskars and stuff. Fear of that. Well, fear is inviting those ghosts to come. And God's love is chasing away those ghosts. The power of God's love enables me to come to that state in which I have the capacity to move away from ego and anger and all the other things that pull me down. The interesting thing about sanskars is that you don't realize how deep they are. And this is true for everyone. We don't realize. I really believe that. But then this is why Baba's saying, attention, attention, attention. No carelessness. You haven't yet burned away those sanskars. And so attention, disciplines. Make sure that the timetable is accurate. Make sure that you're receiving that Sakash from Baba. And you'll find how there's a protection from your own evil spirits. If I'm taking Baba's love, I won't be discontent. I won't get angry. I'm taking Baba's love. I won't depend on human beings. I won't get into attachment traps. I'm taking Baba's love. And there's a gentleness and a humility that's there. I'm dealing with the ego that's really, really stuck deep down inside. I'm able to deal with it. And so the Sakash, the power of love, enables me to deal with all of these things inside. The fear of other people and the negativity of the world out there. Sometimes people say, Madhuban's been great. I feel so protected. I feel so high, so pure. And I wonder what's going to happen when I go back out there. But no, Baba's love is keeping me safe from anything negative within. And it's Baba's love that's going to keep me safe from anything negative from outside also. Baba's love is the orb of light that deflects anything that's negative. Really try it. Just surround yourself with the orb of light of God's love, taking that Sakash, and that protection will automatically deflect any negativity, and it won't touch you, it won't reach you. Anything else to be afraid of? Illness? Well, we've seen the daddies and the conquerors of matter, so why should I be afraid? Anything else? Death? You've died a living death already, so why should you be afraid of anything that's going to come? But I'm full with good karma. I know what my future is. Why people are afraid of death is because they don't know what's going to happen after death. But for us, guarantee, security, insurance, and so I know what's waiting ahead. So just keep taking Baba's Sakash, but make sure that you're preparing yourself to receive that Sakash. Then no more fear, no more anxiety, not even a little trace of worry. If I get worried, I get heavy, and the heaviness also makes me lazy. I don't have the incentive, the motivation, the enthusiasm to make effort or do service. And so heaviness is part of laziness, and heaviness comes through worry. And so to remove that, so that I can take what Baba wants me to have. Let's have powerful yoga on that journey, moving towards the destination, taking all the Sakash that is available. Om Shanti.